5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're now live. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Carlos. How you doing?
Good. We're working on the Lord's Day. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or we're going to go to hell, but this is Sunday and we're working, so your
Well,
idea, so I'll blame you.
I wouldn't class this as work, mate. You have to get paid to class it as work, don't you? But yeah, hi, TheoCons. Welcome to Theory of Conspiracy. It's Sunday, the 9th of August, 2020. If you haven't tuned in before, I'm Andy, and this is Carlos.
Hello, everyone.
Together with a mutual friend, Nick, host a fortnightly audio podcast. This is our spin-off live stream show where any reasonable and friendly discussion is welcome. If anyone in the chat room wants to chip in with any opinions or views, you're more than welcome to. The audio version of this might get published on the podcast feed, so if you are listening to this and you want to look at any of the visuals that we share, then please check out the show notes to find these videos. So yeah, Sundays are for chilling, so we're going to keep this light-hearted, I hope. If we have time, we're going to look at a recent UFO sighting, Batman, the end of the world, and some hidden codes. But Carlos, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Before we start, I was just mentioning to Andy yesterday as we were talking what we're going to talk about today, and I was just going through all my books, and I realised today was the 75th anniversary of the second drop-in of the atomic bomb on Nagasaki, the 9th of August, 1945, so 75 years ago, which literally killed 140,000 people pretty much straight away. The reason why I thought about this is the guy who helped create it was Oppenheimer, and I remember him being interviewed regarding the power you've just created because he didn't know what he created. It's like when someone come up with the idea DNA or the Higgs boson, you don't know what we can do with this power. But he coined that famous for not he, so he stole the famous line, "I am now the destroyer of worlds." What he's trying to say there is probably I've got this unbelievable power, and in the wrong hands, we can do a lot of damage. I've started. That's why it's one of the things I've always followed with World War Two is World War Two or just on World War One and any wars. We always sort of like fast forward technology. We speed up as a species. I remember reading a book on basically on war, and on this planet we've only had 286 years of peace. I don't know if you knew that, Andy. As of this planet, since we've been around civilizations, we've only had 286 years of peace. So we are a warring species. So the question I was going to ask you, Andy, do you think we benefited from being a warring species, or do you think we would have been more advanced if we were more benevolent and we were more caring and didn't resort to war?
I think we touched on this on the
One of the podcasts, yeah,
on the NASA one and the
Operation Paperclip, I think.
yeah, that was it. And also the life the is the life in out there basically. How we're being
Yeah.
visited by. Oh yeah, I mean you can't deny it. I think it's whenever there's a war. I mean, you look at World War One, World War Two. It was a race uh, to develop technologies to get one over on the enemy, wasn't it? So yeah, definitely. I think the only. I mean, even the NASA space program was um, it, it was like a war on paper, wasn't it, with Russia?
Yeah.
Really, it was the space race. It was yeah, the Cold War. It was we might not have been fighting, or America and Russia might not have been fighting each other,
It was a
but
war on technology,
not
basically, wasn't it?
exactly. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah, but would you class that period as peace? You probably wouldn't class it as peace, would you? Even though they weren't actually fighting
No, it was a different
that
kind of
period.
war. It was a more like in sort of like they were sending spies to each other in in getting involved in governments, high positions
Yeah,
in big companies, stealing each other's ideas. The Chinese are doing it now through your technology, through TikTok. I'm sure Facebook do it. I'm sure probably Twitter and Instagram probably do it. WhatsApp probably do it. So there's a different type of war. I think the war on you and I on a battlefield, I think that's finished now. But I think the new war would be through technology or through drones. I think with the current climate, the reason why I was saying that with the current climate with the economy, and obviously the way China and America are sort of loggerheads. Russia's a sleeping giant, and what's happened in Lebanon. I hope it's just one big. The reason why I was thinking of it, because obviously I was watching a documentary on Lebanon, and I hope that's just one big mistake, and it was just the government just left some ammonium nitrate, was it
Ammonium nitrate.
ammonium nitrate, I should say, left it around, and it literally blew up, and it's just a horrible accident. But if there is some kind of hidden agenda, then that will erupt in the Middle East, and we know that the Middle East is very unstable at the moment. And that's why I just go back to, have we benefited from war? I think we've benefited technology, but we're still sort of like a very warring species. We always want to get better of each other. We're not happy with what we've got. We always look, if you look at America, they spend something like 25 times more than their next neighbors in military. I think if you look at like America's budget, say Russia's something like 60 billion, America's something like 750 billion. Who are they fighting? Who are they fighting?
Well,
Like,
they would say they have to prepare for the worst, don't they? Commander Kremen in the chat says, "Who knows what we would have how we would have benefited if we hadn't killed all the competition." So yeah, who knows? Yeah, who knows?
and that's what it goes back to. Like I said, the Oppenheimer, he says, "I am now the destroyer of worlds." No, I am death, basically. And he's probably. I think when he came up with the idea for, or what he came up with the idea, he was one of the physicists who actually helped develop the atom bomb. But he probably knew when he developed it, he thought, "What have I created?" And I always go back to what my father used to say to me: "Knowledge is a bit like electricity. You can do good things and you can do bad things." It's like and same with knowledge. Knowledge, you can actually do good things with knowledge. You can do bad things with knowledge.
Yeah.
I think we just hopefully, and this is 75 years. I don't think we should. Oh, a lot of people won't know this, but I don't think we should ever forget that. Just with one solid bomb, 140,000 people were destroyed, and that meant the total surrender of Japan was just, no pun intended, was flattened,
Yeah,
and they just literally surrendered.
You
I think
should.
the first one was dropped on the 6th of August. The second one was the 9th of August.
Are you watching the Man in the High Castle on Amazon? That's
I'm on episode 5, 6, season 1, so I'm just
oh right.
slowly into it.
Yeah, I finished it all, but I think it's 4 seasons, isn't it?
I think so.
It is a slow burner, but I think for me every season got better. But yeah, that is basically an alternative universe where they didn't drop the atom bomb basically. Yeah.
You didn't? Oh yeah,
No, they didn't. Yeah, and Germany
because Germany won the war in that program. Germany's
Germany and
won it.
Japan, yes, basically split America down the middle and both occupy it. So interesting watch. So anyway, bit of doom and gloom. Here's some more doom and gloom, Carlos. When if I was ask you to predict the end of the world, when would you say it would going to be? The end of life as we know it. Just off the top of your head.
Do I have to give a year, or
Yeah, give us a year. Nearest year.
if I was to give a year with the current climate, I'd say a 2030.
2030. Okay. I'd say 2021. So I know I'm not the only one actually, man. According to Rabbi Glazerson, hold on, I've got some. Do have some graphics here. Some graphics over there. So according to Rabbi Glazerson, the end of the world is actually going to be in 2021. So the Bible code, also known as the Torah code, is allegedly a set of encoded words hidden in the Hebrew text of the Torah. Torah. And according to its proponents, they basically predict significant historical events. A number of rabbis, priests, mathematicians, and professors have claimed that the Hebrew text versions are basically secret messages left by God, and they've predicted the election of Donald Trump, the Holocaust, and the destruction of the World Trade Center on 9/11. But
So the prophets as well.
Yeah,
the prophets as well.
Rabbi Matthew Glazerson, who featured in the 2015 film The Torah Codes, End to Darkness. I've not watched it, released a new video on his YouTube channel recently claiming that Iran will develop a nuclear weapon in 2020 and saying that he discovered texts that contain the phrases Iran atomic and this year, which is 5,780, but in the Hebrew calendar, that's 2020, basically. And then in a second video, he claimed that basically end of days was coming next year, 2021. Yeah, I mean, 2020 couldn't get. So it's either that or we're going to get invaded by aliens or something.
Well, the reason why I said 2030 is because we've mentioned his name before, David Icke. David Icke, because a lot of these agendas will be complete by 2030. That's why I just mentioned 2030. It wasn't because people say, oh, this when, people have been saying this agenda's been going on for the last 20, 30 years. He said because the completion should be 2030. That's why I just used the name, so the number 2030. The vaccines, the manipulations, the banking systems, the control of the people, the masses, all should be complete by 2030, they say. That's why. So I hope, well, is that famous saying from Albert Einstein? I don't know what weapons will be used in World War III, but in World War IV, we'll be using sticks and stones. Basically, what he's trying to say is we'll evaporate each other and we'll have to start again. So I don't think, will war erupt? Yes. I think the Middle East is just proven that it's unstable. You mentioned Iran, Lebanon, Israel. Obviously, when they're constantly fighting with the Palestine, China, Russia, United States, the unstableness in Europe. It's just a melting pot. It's just all it takes is one lunatic to do something, and it will just have a massive knock-on effect throughout the world. Usually, what happens is when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. But at the moment, it seems to be when China sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold because we're so heavily reliant on China. Obviously, a lot of people moving their infrastructure and manufacturing over to India, and a lot of it over to Vietnam as well. Well, all this comes down to is war. It's war on technology, war on finances, war as well.
So I wonder if they'll link the Beirut explosion with his prediction, this Iran atomic thing.
It won't be a surprise is people start linking it to Michel de Nostradamus. I'm sure a lot of people will be deciphering his quatrains now, going through it. I've read a lot of his books, but you have to really decipher it.
I nearly mentioned Nostradamus, but I did this Hebrew calendar one instead. I've actually seen something linking that as well. Apparently,
so I can imagine there'll be some scholars now deciphering it all now.
Yeah. I don't believe a word of the Nostradamus thing. You can literally read anything into him.
He got the clever one. He got to because a lot of it's it's a bit like a horoscope. Yeah, Hitler, but he wrote it as Hister, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's the bit where people go, okay, let's have a listen to this guy because he wrote there'll be war and the main guy will be able to be called Hister, and obviously one letter. So a lot of people, okay, that 500 years ahead.
If Hitler had been some sort of other name, and let's say it was John Smith, I think they would have gone, oh, he was quite close because it was Mr. John Smith. Hister and Mr. sound very similar, don't they?
Well, Hister and Hitler, there's only one letter out though. There's only one letter.
There's only one letter with Mr. I don't know.
No, Nostradamus is one of the things where I've read Nostradamus, a lot of Nostradamus' literature. I've watched his films. I've watched his documentaries. A lot of people think he's just he was just a guy high on, because he used to take some form of absinthe and some form of mushrooms. So clearly he was hallucinating. And the next person I've worked was Edgar Cayce. They say the next one after he used to do a lot of predictions as well, but he was more from the 1930s, 1940s. But he could bet on more like who's going to win the Grand National, who's going to win the next World Series and stuff like
Useful predictions.
Useful ones where you can earn some money out of it.
Yeah, you can.
No, that was just basically
the lottery results.
So that was the 75th anniversary of atomic bomb. I just found it interesting today. It's 75 years ago. It wasn't a million years ago. It was just 75 years ago. 140,000 people just got wiped out like that. And I just found it interesting to see how we've evolved in 75 years. And we've evolved. I think a lot of the problems we had back then, we've still got today. And the only thing we've hopefully improved on, obviously, we live longer. We should be more better in technology wise, but I think the problems we had back then, we've still got the same problems now, if not worse. If not worse, but that's a different conversation anyway.
Yeah. Cool, man. Um,
So we've got a lot of
so
stuff. So obviously, we've got the UFO you mentioned before.
yeah, I was just about to come on to that. So, UFO, I've just thrown a picture up of it. It'll be on the live stream in a second.
Okay.
Um,
So if I'm looking
so
everywhere, because I've got iPads, I've got laptops, I've got everyone over the place on because I've got everything
I
going on.
know
So I'm not ignoring them. I'm just like looking at every different screen. I've got about 4 screens at the moment.
I'm the same. I'm the same. Um, so there's a shaky video clip, not my words, doing the rounds of a UFO floating over Lake Geneva in Switzerland, and this was
Yeah, it looks
filmed
like
last month.
a big milk bottle, doesn't it?
Yeah, like a milk, like urn, a milk urn.
Yeah. Where you
One
used
of the
to.
metal
Yeah.
urns. Yeah. Um, so yeah, it was last month. It was the 20th of July, about 4:45 a.m. local time, so early in the morning. Um, and the bell-like object appears to move slowly in one direction without making a sound. Um, I've got another picture from the archives,
Well, you
Carlos.
mentioned, just let me jump on there. You
Go on.
mentioned the word bell.
Yeah.
During Nazi Germany, they were working on a technology called the Glocker. Um, you could not make that up. You couldn't make it up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Carlos hasn't any foresight on these
No,
graphics.
no, I didn't have
Yeah,
that. You couldn't make it
I
up, could you?
no, I knew you'd love that one, man. Very similar shape. Yeah, the Glocker. Yeah.
Yeah, the Glocker. Yeah. The Adolf Hitler used to refer. Here's a question. See if you might get it. What did Adolf Hitler refer that to as? He didn't call it the Glocker. He called it the.
Well, I have no idea.
He called it the Wunderwaffe, the wonder weapon. They
Okay.
call it Wunderwaffe. That's it, because that was the one that was going to win in the war. He said, "Well, I was going to win in the war."
So what happened to that?
Uh, I, well, the books I've read is some of the scientists sabotaged it. They're scared of what he would do with it.
Uh,
Adolf Hitler having all this technology, all this power, he was scared. Even the Nazis themselves were scared of what he would do. So the rumor has it they sabotaged it,
right.
and they had to go back to square one because only a handful of scientists knew what was going on, and they used to because even if you think about it there, because I just taking if you're working for the Third Reich and you're working for one goal, we think like go back to Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer famously said, "Now I've become death, the destroyer of worlds." He knew when he created this that what have I done? And with he's responsible. That man, not personally, but he's responsible for that 250,000 deaths. What would
Yeah.
Hitler have done with that? He could have just wiped out half the world population. I mean, so you have to think to yourself. Sometimes the greater need becomes people have to sometimes think, you know what, maybe it's worth sacrificing our country or for us to lose the war for one person not to gain. That's my personal opinion. That's all.
There's
That's a good question though.
there was a really low budget, and it was back when it was on video. I remember watching it on video, so we're probably talking 90s. Um, and it was about, I think it was about some Brits stroke Yanks, um, found something like this in Germany, and yeah, had to basically blow it up and escape. And it turned out, I mean, for I think for some reason, a couple of them ended up in it, and right at the end, and they got transported back in time or flew it back to the UK, but then blew it up. Because they didn't, they knew even if the UK got their hands on it, it'd be like dangerous. I
Well,
can't remember if anyone wants to Google that film, and in the chat and let us know what it is, that'd be
well,
great because I
funny you
can't
should
remember
say
what it's
that
called.
because they did refer to it as it could be a time traveling machine as well.
Yeah,
Because the Nazi Party were a big believer in the Vril Society, and they were run by women with long hair. With the hair used to touch practically the floor because they said the hair acted as some form of antenna, so it could communicate with extraterrestrials. And it was the extraterrestrials what were giving them the blueprint how to build the Glocker, and that's
Uh,
where and the race of people they used to they were communicating was the tall whites or the Nordics. Tall white people, very white, pale, blue-eyed, white hair, and that's what they used to refer to them as the Nordics. And that's how, and that's they used to say that could have been a time traveling machine as well. But that would
right.
tie in with what you just said
Well, we've got no chance of communicating with aliens, have we? I mean, yeah,
then.
yeah, man. I think I've got some more images actually. This is
Where
is
was
what I
taking
think
this, Andy? Where was this again?
that was
Not the
in.
not the Glocker.
It was over Lake Geneva in Switzerland.
Okay.
So
Oh, so a neutral ground because Switzerland's neutral.
yeah, it's not too far from Germany either.
No, true.
Maybe they dug it out of someone's garage. So yeah, I think it's more likely to be some sort of Chinese lantern. That's a similar
That
shape.
looks like a lantern.
Well, it is a lantern.
Oh,
Just an example.
oh,
But
okay.
don't know what a lantern would be doing flying that early in the morning unless it was let off the night before and that was it just coming down.
Well, the
Uh,
question I've asked myself and I've asked a few aviation people is there a benefit in shape sizes? Obviously, in our atmosphere, there is the way it cuts through the atmosphere. But in space, it doesn't matter if you make a donut or a banana shaped or shaped like a TV. In space, the shape doesn't matter. It's
mm,
just around. Because I've spoken to it says in this on our planet, yes, shape does matter, but in the atmosphere in space, it doesn't really matter. But I always find it weird. It's either bell shaped, cigar shaped, or some kind of the typical UFO shape we always talk
yeah, the
about.
disc. But
This.
I mean, they would obviously, if they're planning on visiting other planets with atmospheres, they'd need it to be shaped so it could go into some sort of atmosphere. But do you know what I mean? So yeah, so you're not going to get some weird shapes. But yeah, anyway, I think it's more likely to be
Some kind of balloon or some kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not very
what's the
clear what it
UFO
could be.
what's the UFO Society said about it,
Um,
if anything?
don't know. Didn't look into it that far, man. I just saw the image and I watched the video. And literally, it's like I think the video is like less than 20 seconds long. You
Okay.
just see it floating just above those trees there. That's just a still of it where someone's blowing it up.
I
So
don't think if I seen a UFO, I don't think I'd have time to get me because I'd be watching it in awe, and I'd probably would not. I'd forget about getting my phone out because I've I've seen incidents in not obviously UFOs, but I've seen car crashes and stuff like that. The last thing I do is get my phone out.
yeah,
You sort of rubberneck, look, but you don't get your phone out. So it's amazing how a lot of these people, the first reaction is to get the phone out. Oh, that's weird. Get my phone out. Me, I'd be looking. I go, what the hell is that? And by then, I realised, get my phone out. The thing's gone.
yeah, crazy man. So dude, are you a fan of Batman? It's in the cinema
I,
at the moment.
I've watched a lot of the Batman.
Have you? It's in the cinema at the moment. They're basically redoing all the latest ones. Just
What
because
with Heath Ledger in it and stuff like that. That one's
because there's no uh
cinema.
there's no new films coming out, so they're re-releasing 2020 versions of stuff. So I've not been
What
able
do
to
you
watch them.
director's cuts and stuff like that? Or
No, just a 2020 version. Some of them have been like 4K'd and things like that. But
okay,
yeah, there's not a lot of new stuff. I think in the next couple of weeks there's going to be some proper big film. I mean, all them blockbusters that were coming out, Top Gun, James Bond, they've all been moved right back to the either November or even next year, which is gutted about.
yeah. The top. Would you say Top Gun then? Sorry, to say.
Top Gun, yeah, Top Gun, James Bond, the New Avengers, Wonder Woman 1980, and the Silent Place 2.
Couldn't they go straight to Netflix or go to Amazon Prime, or would they lose so much money?
They'd lose so much money, so that's why they're not bringing them out now. Because I've been to cinema, um, and literally me and my daughter was in there on our own on the first day back,
It's
and
good for you,
then
but it's not good for the business. So
yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, and now you've got to wear any indoor place. You've got to wear face masks. even at the cinema. You're allowed to take it off while you're eating or drinking. You got to wear it.
That's the you might as
strange.
well just take it. Yeah, once you're in there, I
Strange.
didn't even know you took it off anyway. So
I don't know. You just have some on your lap and just put it in your mouth if anyone comes in. I'm eating. So yeah. So anyway, back to bats, man. What do you think about the size of that one? This human-sized bat.
is that real?
It's a real photo, yeah.
No, a real bat, you mean, or
It's a real bat, yeah. It's actually a flying fox.
that looks quite creepy. That.
Yeah, it does, man. And the size of it compared to the motorbike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
looks
it's been
massive.
called. So it basically did the rounds again. Again, this is quite recent. It doing the rounds again. But late June, I think this photo did the rounds again. And it was saying that it was a huge fruit bat from the Philippines. The photo was actually, I think it actually originally came out on Reddit about 2 years ago, from a Filipino user called Sacundes. Basically, they encountered the creature in their backyard. It's actually believed to be a giant golden crowned flying fox, which can grow to be slightly bigger than normal bats. But
But it is a bat, though. It is a bat.
they're very closely related, flying foxes and bats, because obviously that is a flying fox, but it looks like a bat, doesn't it?
So what would that feed on?
Oh gosh, I did read all this. But yeah, a lot of them eat fruit and stuff. Yeah,
Because
they're
that
not
looks
blood
like
sucking.
it looks like a predator. Because obviously, I can't imagine that having many predators. But obviously, a lion would eat it. But I always find when certain animals get to a certain size, we become part of its food chain. Like
Yeah,
if I had a fight with a cat, I know I'd kill a cat if I say a normal house cat. But if a cat was the same size as a dog, the cat would eat me or kill me
yeah.
because of the power. Because obviously, if I was to fight a cat now, normally I'd be scratched. I'd kill it in the end. But if it's the size of a dog, it would eat me. It would kill. It would thrash
Well,
me to death.
lions and tigers are just big cats, aren't they? So
Exactly. So
yeah,
when you get to a bat, where I'm not scared of a bat, but if I see that, could that actually attack me? Could that go for me? Could that take my head off?
I don't know. I mean, it might. I don't think it'd take your head off, but apart, I do have a few stats. So the largest species of bat, their wingspans reach 1.7 meters. That's 5.5 feet. Okay, so that is just shorter than me. That probably comes up to there on me. However, the bodies are quite small, just like 30 centimeters, like the length of
Okay.
a school ruler.
So it looked quite
So
intimidating when it opens up. Then
yeah, yeah. But I remember when I saw this picture, I was like, oh my god, that bat looks absolutely huge, absolutely huge. But same person did another photo. That's another photo from a different angle. So you can see that it's actually the perspective doesn't fool you there because there's not got this motorbike in the background. So it is actually a lot smaller than it looks like it is. So it's not really 6 foot tall bat. So if that was a 6 foot tall bat, its
yeah.
wingspan would be like 5-6 meters, wouldn't it?
Well, the biggest animal to have the biggest wingspan in the world as of the second, I think it's the condor. I think it's 3 meters. But yeah, that's quite menacing when you see it
Yeah,
in the sky. Well, that looks quite scary. Either way, it still looks quite scary now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got his mouth open there as well, hasn't he? But yeah,
Yeah.
just having a nap, I think. But I know in the States they have reportings of giant bat creatures and stuff on the top of buildings and stuff. I can't remember which city has them, but maybe we'll have to cover that on a future
Yeah,
episode.
there's that crazy stat where the amount of species that get extinct every single day that we've not even discovered yet. I think there's animals out there which we still didn't know about, which could be related to the dinosaur period, which would obviously people talk about Loch Ness and things like that, but I think the sizes we know more about the cosmos than we do about our own oceans. There must be things um, swimming in our sea which still to this day we don't know about. Because I came across this literature I was reading about dinosaurs, but the blue whale is the biggest animal that has ever lived on the planet. I
Yeah.
thought it would have been a dinosaur, but it's the blue whale currently living now. It's the biggest animal that's ever lived.
Because they live in the sea, I guess you can't picture exactly how big they are, can you?
And
You
also
just
because
can't. Yeah, it just doesn't do. Even if you see one next to a boat, you can't picture how big that boat is because you're not on the boat
yeah.
and stuff.
Well, when you
Yeah,
see a blue whale, when they put pictures next to like a dinosaur, next to elephants, or a
yeah,
double-decker bus, you think, wow, that's huge. That's
yeah,
huge.
yeah, yeah. I know the whale shark's pretty huge, isn't it? But
Oh, yeah. There's
yeah,
quite a few. There's basking sharks are quite big, but the blue whale is just on another scale. On another scale.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, no, I
Crazy,
like
man.
that one. I'll have to look into that one. I
That's
like.
that's that's a good example as well. How one picture can go around, with and it can escalate into these giant human-sized bats and stuff like that. I mean,
Man-eating bats, because that'll be a man-eating bat next.
there was literally all sorts of stories going around with it, man. Yeah, going around with it, but yeah, no one ever shared this second image that's cropped up. Well, at
Because
least
it's not. It
this is
doesn't look as.
accompanied.
It doesn't look as
No.
menacing there, does it?
Well, look at it. Look at it compared to that bowl now.
Yeah.
It's you can see it's quite small,
Yeah.
or the bucket next to it. But I think it's just a perspective. You don't realize how far away that motorbike is in the background.
But I was
It's
surprised when it was sleeping in the daylight with people around.
well, yeah. Who knows how remote the area is?
Well, clearly there's like a sink there, or there's a motorbike, so it's not that remote.
No, I know, but there still might not be another house in like
Yeah, another
half a
10
mile. It
miles.
might be a little farm somewhere, and that's what they use to get up and down to the shops or whatever. So, cool, man. Yeah. So, what else have we got to talk about?
You said about UFOs.
No, I've done I did the
Oh,
UFO,
you
did
did
the
good.
Doomsday. Back onto codes. Back onto codes. Um, Shakespeare Code, man. We both watched that
That's what
recently.
I told you to watch, you and Nick.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what shall I take? I absolutely. This is a subject I've been sort of following since I was a kid. But then I've been watching quite a few documentaries, and it was actually some random person who told me about. I was on the train about a year ago. I was reading a book. I'd read Shakespeare, and this guy just says, "Have you seen the Shakespeare Codes, the cracking of the codes?" And stuff. Goes, "No." And he says, "Oh, if you're reading that book on Shakespeare, you'll like the codes on Shakespeare." I go, "Okay." This was a random stranger who just suggested it to me, and I went home and literally watched it. And I thought, I think it was 3 episodes. I watched it, and I said to you two about 3 o'clock in the morning, "You need to watch it. You need to watch this." And you did, and you go, "Carlos, this is brilliant."
Yeah, very compelling once you start watching it.
Very well put together as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, obviously, I was on the side of
the skeptic.
the guy, yeah, the guy that's in the right hand side of the photo at the moment, not the guy on the left, who's the guy that's come up with the code. Um, and you mentioned Oak Island. Oh, they're going to Oak Island, and
Yeah,
yeah, once they got up to that bit where they started talking about mercury preserving documents, I was like, oh, after watching 7 seasons of Oak Island, I was like, oh my God, they found traces of mercury on Oak Island. And one of the theories is that uh, all like lost manuscripts and everything, or the original manuscripts from Shakespeare, might be held in this treasure trove that's apparently on this island in Nova Scotia, Canada. Um, yeah, absolutely crazy, man.
yeah, because
Uh,
the code systems, I've been fascinated because I think he got a mention probably about 30 seconds. Andrew Marlowe, correct me if I'm wrong, people. Andrew Marlowe's the name. He they say he was the genius behind Shakespeare's writing. Shakespeare was the one the world knew, the way England knew of him. He was like the king of England, not literally the king of England, but the king of literature. And he was the front, the face, but they had geniuses behind him, running all his literature through him. They say Andrew Marlowe was the guy behind it all. Well, then when this came along, you talk about if it was Bacon, is it Bacon?
Francis Bacon, yeah.
Francis Bacon. What was the other guy? I forgot his name now.
Can't remember.
Yeah,
I just remember Francis Bacon. He's the famous dude.
he's the one, and it literally because they start looking at all these codes where I know you can make anything fit, but you put a picture there where they got like the triangle, the Masonic triangle, the 53 degrees. Certain key numbers keep flagging up again, like 17, 33. So
Yeah.
I find it quite interesting. So do you think our ancestors, or even yourself, have hidden cryptic messages in tweets or Facebook updates or letters? I know personally I have. I won't reveal it online because I get in trouble, but I can privately show you. But I've hidden a lot of cryptic messages in tweets and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, yeah, I suppose people are doing it all the time. With the Shakespeare one, I think it's undeniable. I think that certain elements. The reason I showed that triangle image is
Yeah.
that triangle image only works because they've deliberately moved where it says that I thought her as um, chaste. That should be on this all on the same line, but they deliberately put the as onto the next line down so that the C is in the right place to make the C O and the whatever the other letter was, C O and S.
So do you think the printers or the publishers have done
I
it
think the
purposely?
printers, because these were all first edition prints, so
So do you
they're
think
not original copies. So
so
whether
what's
Shakespeare
stopping
was
me?
in on it, but the printers definitely were in on something, and they also did deliberate mistakes with the page numbering. They jumped a page number to make something work with the code that this guy follows.
This would be a lot of work for the printers to do, though. Unless they're really bored, they go, Andy, what do you fancy fucking with some of these front first editions this week? Or could you be like, I'm a friend of yours, I'm the writer, I'm the author, and you go, you say, oh Carlos, Nick, the real author, he's not getting any credit for this next book. Should we start putting cryptic messages in these books? Because this is a lot of work for someone to do to just for a game of laughs.
Well, the guy on the left explained it as that basically it was put together by some group, wasn't it? A bit like the a bit like what they
They
call.
call them the RCs, don't they? RCs.
Is it something like that? And where basically it's you can't prove or disprove that you're a member of it or who members of it are. It's really like it's really strange. Almost
No, I think the initials it was called the RCs. The
yeah, it was.
RCs.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was. I can't remember
Or
what they
what
were
does it mean,
called.
the RC? I don't know. I'm sure
I
someone on
can't
there.
remember. I'd have to watch it again. It was named after um it was named after that guy, wasn't it? That they dug his body up and he was perfectly preserved. Again, because he was possibly stored in mercury.
So Mercury seems
Quicksilver.
to be a great formula to. Because the Egyptians used to do that as well. Put things in Mercury as well, didn't the Egyptians?
Oh, I don't know. Don't know.
What
I
was
know
your
these
take
two.
on that? If you obviously you watched the 3 episodes, would you say that was just what was it, a load of bollocks? But would you say that's just a huge quizzes, or do you actually? Obviously, I'm not saying you're a Shakespeare expert. Did you think differently about Shakespeare? Did you say, oh, maybe there's some into this?
It's not like I say, it's not changed my thoughts on Shakespeare, but I think that the printers have done something deliberately
So do you
to
think
make.
this is all Shakespeare's work? Because they do say there could have been a lot. He would have had to be an expert in so many different fields in literature that you probably needed about 4 or 5 different minds contributing writing on this for one guy to be an expert on. Usually, when you're an expert in certain genres, not in all genres, unless he was a complete walking genius and he was good at everything. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I mean, look. I mean, you could look at other authors that have just wrote. I mean, I did see a pie chart on his stuff. I mean, a lot of people think he just wrote these loads of plays, but
Yes,
actually,
sonnets.
yeah, actually, sonnets took up on the pie chart more than half, more than half of what he did. A lot more than half. Yeah, the plays that he did. So he did some comedies, he did some like disaster one type things. They only took up about I don't know maybe 20% of his writings. So yeah, but yeah,
Well,
I never studied Shakespeare really, other than
I did the basics, as obviously
yeah.
I
I don't
read
think we
some.
even did basics of him in school, other than
I did
mention
the
his name.
basics in school 'cause I went to an all boy Catholic school, so it was always good to read literature and stuff like that. But the one thing I did find it interesting about Shakespeare was it's actually quite very now sounding. During the pandemic of the Black Plague in 1606, Shakespeare was quarantined. He had to quarantine. This was before the NHS and before antibiotics. That he quarantined himself and he wrote his three plays while in quarantine. He wrote Hamlet. He wrote Antony and Cleopatra and King Lear. Three
Uh-huh.
of his greatest plays he wrote in quarantine. So if the people are saying, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, write plays. Be productive. Shakespeare was productive, so that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, man. Cool, man. I've got this is not Shakespeare related, but
Not Shakespeare. I was looking forward to more Shakespeare talk.
no, sorry, man. But it is wordy. It's very wordy. So if I give you a phrase,
Yeah.
I I didn't say we should kill him. Okay. Now,
I didn't say you should kill him.
I didn't say we should kill him.
Okay.
Now, if you put emphasis on the different words in that phrase, the sentence is different every time you read it. So I'll read it out. So I didn't say we should kill him. Uh, I didn't say we should kill him. 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 So that has got like 7 different
Meaning.
meanings depending which emphasis. It's an interesting little thing. Every single one of them is slightly different. Where if you just read it, you don't know where the emphasis is in that sentence.
That's why it's difficult to get someone's play when someone sends you a tweet or a message on WhatsApp
Yeah,
and you go, what do you mean by that?
yeah,
Because I not so much. It depends on what time I'm messaging people, but I sometimes proofread what I write and make sure I've got the comma and the full stops in the right place. Because if you put it in the wrong place, it means something different. It means something. The amount of
yeah,
times is, what do you mean by that, Carl? Oh, shit, yeah, I've put the comma in the wrong place. I mean, I didn't mean that. Sorry, and it just shows by putting the comma in the wrong place how you can change the dynamics of a sentence or a
yeah.
word.
Well, obviously that's got no commas in it, that sentence. But yeah, I had the same thing. I had to sit over from someone at a place I worked at, and we'd have conversations on like chat or email
Yeah,
rather than let the whole office listen to what we're talking
yeah.
about. Because
I've
obviously,
got instant
yeah,
messaging kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah, I think it was pre-instant messages, so we used to just email each other. So we'd having this email conversation back and forward because you want the rest of the office to think you're working. You're not just sat there
yeah.
having a conversation about last night's TV or whatever. And then the amount of times that person would just get in a huff for me. I'd go, "What's so weird? You just said this," and I went, "No, no, I meant that," and I said it in a different with a different emphasis. And she went, "Oh, okay." In fact, I said the key word there, she. So a bit temperamental,
So
bit
I
touchy.
love you. I love you.
No, it wasn't anything like that.
I
But
love you.
but it was stuff like you've just said I'm this. You just said I went, I've not. You've just read it wrong. So I said right. Next time I put something, if it's like a jokey bit or something, or I'm
This was
I,
pre
I,
pre emojis, wasn't
yeah, pre emojis. I'll put it in a different font, and even then
it?
you would forget. Oh, not a different font, like a different color, like
Yeah.
purple. And then even then I'd forget because you're in a rush, and she'd be like, "Oh, you just said that." So, like, what's up? I'm not talking to you. Why? Oh, you just said something. I'm like, what? She went, you didn't put it in the purple. I went, oh my God, I forgot that. Women just remember everything, don't they?
But no, it's true what you said because I wrote things where I'm being sarcastic, and I've
Yeah,
wrote it as if I'm writing a play or a poem. I don't write plays or poems just in case people. Uh, but I wrote it, and then someone come back and says, "Carlos, you're wrong," and they started coming out. I said, you're not bad. I'm being sarcastic. It says, well, you need to put a sarcastic font or sarcastic emoji. I said, well, they don't exist. I said, you know my
yeah,
personality. You know I don't believe that. I was doing something on flat Earth, and I was literally I had something, and I was saying this is convinced me that flat Earth is real and all that, and I did it such a good way that people thought I believed in flat Earth, but no, I'm being sarcastic, dickheads. You know what I mean? Well, I realised just because I didn't have a sarcastic button or emoji, there's probably about 50% who read that probably think I'm a flat earther now. But I was doing it as a, well, just show. But I was just being sarcastic the way the talks about the Antarctica being like a wall and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is 100% proof. It's right now. I'm convinced.
To be honest, I thought that, and I nearly said to you, "Have you gone to the other side, mate?"
But no, it's no. But it does show if you sort of don't proofread, or if you don't sort of acknowledge, like there must be some kind of, I don't, there is a sarcastic emoji. I don't know if there is one or something. But I think you need to cover yourself.
Just that one. Winking with a tongue out or something.
Well, that's the power of writing. What's that famous? Is it Edward Linton from Glastonbury? He wrote, "The pen is mightier than the sword," and that's the. Oh, here's another interesting fact. The same author wrote the book, The Coming Race. And that's the book that got Adolf Hitler and Heinrich Himmler obsessed with race.
Oh,
How man's that? That's the way I've just melded them two together.
Didn't Hitler, you would know this, didn't Hitler go to university in like Wales or something?
No, I don't think there's rumours that he visited Liverpool. He visited Liverpool. He visited Liverpool. He had a brother called Patrick Hitler, and he had three sisters, three stepsisters, or two stepsisters, one sister, or two stepsisters.
Right.
But he went to Bonn. Obviously, he was an artist. He was a failed artist. He was moderately talented, but a failed artist. And it was the Jews who declined his work. So that's probably it all started from that, probably.
Oh God, right. So it's all just a vendetta against his art.
Probably, yeah.
Oh God.
Well, no, that's no. It's quite interesting the way you just said, like when I write things, sometimes you have to proofread to yourself now, because obviously now you can get yourself in so much trouble now if you write something and it goes viral and you say things. Like I said, we've put things on TikTok now. It's had like over 200,000 views. I'm thinking, good job I didn't write anything really wrong or anything misleading or which could misgender someone or go into some or say something about political parties or certain race or culture. Like that video, we've had 220,000 views. I'm thinking, and I kept it very scientific, so it's good. I've protected myself, but I'm thinking if I wrote something there which is really close to the bone or risque, I could have got myself in a lot of trouble.
Very scientific now, but in 20 years' time, Carlos, that might be really controversial.
Yeah, I say, Carlos, you were out of order there.
Especially when they prove that the Earth is flat.
Yes.
You're gonna look really silly, man. You look really silly.
Because I was looking at the motions of the Earth and Mercury, it was forming a 666, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was forming a 666. So I was playing on that, the 666 formula. But that was just a joke. I didn't say that, but I was just playing on that emphasis.
Was that one of your hidden messages?
That wasn't. That was actually scientifically proven, that one. So
Oh God. Like I say, I think it's a 999, not a 666.
Yeah, it depends which way you look at it,
yeah, it does, man. Cool, man. Right, I think we've actually been streaming for 58 minutes at the moment, so pretty much covered everything on the agenda, I think. Unless you've got any little bits you want to slip in.
No, it's just literally. Today was just a quick one, really, because I was going to say we're going to be on for 45 minutes to an hour. We're literally right bang in the middle, anyway. So
yeah,
there's something we just need to look into, keep going, and talk about different agendas, really. Because obviously, I like to keep it. Obviously, just try and keep it current as well. Obviously, with the last week we talked about the Beirut. This week we talked about the anniversary of the second nuclear bomb, I should say. But no, so these ones just keep it current, obviously, and some what's hot and what's not, really. I like them kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll keep it on this format on Sundays. definitely, and maybe have bigger topics on the Wednesdays. So next Wednesday there won't be a live stream because we're recording the podcast.
Yeah.
And that will be out on Sunday as normal.
Can we tell them what we're going to be talking about? Can we say?
Yeah.
It's going to be climate change.
Yeah. Climate change. Cool.
So if any climate change deniers or people believe for or against, I think I will not. I've read lots of literature on both sides, so I'm going to play devil's advocate on Wednesday. I'm going to put an argument for and against. I'll let the people decide.
I'll try and dig up some stats and things like that. I do have some visuals. I'm going to share them before Wednesday on our social media so that you and Nick get to see them. And obviously, then when the podcast is released on Sunday, obviously anyone listening to it can go and look at the social media for the visuals.
Excellent.
Cool. Excellent. Brilliant. Right. Oh, we've just had a little
Illuminati.
Yeah. I don't know what that refers to. Illuminati.
That's my organisation. I work.
You probably are a member. The Illuminati.
Now.
Yeah.
I've been excommunicated.
Yeah. In fact, if you fold the $1 bill a certain way, can't you see your face?
You see my face and my name, Carlos Garcia. You see it?
I bet you do. I bet you do, man. Brilliant. All right. Thanks for that.
Stay well, stay safe.
Okay.
And look after yourselves.
Yeah. And don't forget to hit follow on Twitch for future notifications. So yeah, stay safe. Peace, love, and Gandhi. See ya.